What is up, everyone? Today we're back here again with the moment of Suzuki. That's the way I pronounce it. If this is the wrong way of pronouncing it and you know the correct way, please let me know in the comments down below. In this Spiral Abyss reset, the blessing of the Abyssal Moon is called Trusting Moon. Interesting name. It states that for 10 seconds after the active character uses their elemental skill, the damage dealt by the normal attacks is increased by 20%, and this will stack up to 3 times, reaching which a shockwave would be unleashed that would deal true damage to the nearby opponents, and the tally would then be reset. I don't know how beneficial that bonus is as compared to something like an elemental damage, because true damage might mean physical damage here, and there's a reason why we don't have characters like Eula coming anymore. So we're back to the 8th chamber, 8th floor, 3rd chamber, and we'll go in and we'll see just how we'll perform this time around. Here's the performance for the last time. I was able to get to the 12th floor, 3rd chamber, gaining 36 stars. This time around, my aim is to get 33 stars. I'm a free to play player, so if they give me an impossible challenge that can only be fulfilled with a 5-star weapon of a weapon banner, which weapon banner is a scam to me, I'll totally leave it at like that and I'll settle with 33 stars. Yeah, here's again the blessing of the Abyssal Moon. I'll get into it, and the floor 9 states that after a character deals a vaporized reaction, the vaporized reaction's damage dealt by that character increases by 50% for 5 seconds. So keep dealing that, and all the vaporized reaction damages should be amped up to 50% more than what they originally deal. So in the chamber first, we have things like, well, normal ones. The first one has some Usia oriented enemies, the second half has some Numa oriented enemies. It's a system I wished the Fontaine battle system made more use of. If you have a powerful unit, you could breeze through it by brute forcing your way. So technically, having a Usia unit or a Numa unit did not mean much in the long run. But in chamber 2 we have hydro based life forms as the opponents for the first half, and for the second half we have large pyro slimes. So it makes it very obvious that we would want to keep our pyro DPSs, on field pyro DPSs in the first half, as well as for the second half we would like to have our on field hydro DPSs. Well, chamber 3 is, well, pretty much the same, but pyro for first, hydro for the second. Let's get at it. I'll take Furina, Nivelette, Kaidehara Kazuha, which I'm again having trouble finding. There he is. And Diona for the second half. And for the first half, I'm gonna take Bennett, Yoimiya, Xingqiu, and Zhongli. You might tell me that why am I not taking Hu Tao or Alecino, who might be a lot stronger than Yoimiya is, and to which I'll say that this is 9th floor. We don't need her just yet, but I'll definitely use her whenever we feel like we are at our odds end and there's no other way to defeat it than to use someone like Alecino or Hu Tao. Let's get started. But definitely not Hu Tao, because Alecino is stronger and has lesser set of compromises, if you know what I'm saying. Right, so for this one I'll take this one. Well, Bennett was saying something. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bennett. My bad. Whoops. 30, 31, 40. Oops. Can I nuke you? Probably not entirely, I suppose. There you go. So that's the first half done of the first chamber. Yeah. I was wondering if these friends of Farina would be good enough to defeat them just like that without my interception. And it seems like I was right. They need over to the second chamber. Well, technically I could have used Ayato here as well instead of Nuvalet. But I don't know, the way Nuvalet fires this Kamehameha beam from his chest, it feels amazing. Right, let's take elemental mastery over here. There you go. Right. So when Xingqiu enables his elemental skill or does this elemental burst, he douses himself with hydro. So being around a character that infuses you with cryo would put you in a freeze position. You definitely not want to be there. I've been there and it sucks. Alright, second half of Chamber 2. Pyro based shields. $77k, wow. From Crimson Agate. Protect Amber. The 4-star weapon, the ones that's craftable. That thing. And finally, we're down to the third chamber of floor 9. This time around, we can't take the first one because we already took it, and these things don't stack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the elemental resistance increased by 25% for all of my characters. Here again, Bennett was saying something, and just like the last time, I interrupted it. Not bad. Probably one more nuke if you don't mind. Alright. $54k in the end. Please confirm or deny this in the comments down below if I read it right, or if it's my hopium doing the talking. Hopium, you name it. Oh, I see there's a shield icon down there. That's probably representative of the resistance that I got my characters in the very last moment's blessing. And there they go. These are attacking the stuff in between. Weird. Right, so characters that deal 50% increased damage to opponents that are affected by hydro. So no matter what reaction you do with hydro, it doesn't have to be vaporized, doesn't have to be anything else. Anything that's done with hydro, 50%. There you go. So let's take a look at the opponent's details. The first half, well, Usia units, Numa units. But on the second half, the first half tells me that I needed someone who can group them together. So Kazuha team, most likely. And for the second half, I can probably take my Pyro team. Let's do it then. So that's Bennett, Yoimiya, Xingqiu, and Sonli. And for the first half, we'll take Furina, Nuvalet, Kaidehara Kazuha, and Diona. There she goes. Alright, let's see how it goes. Right, so I'm definitely gonna take the normal and charge deck damage increased by 20%. If the max SP thing comes around, I'll take it, but for now, the thing that benefits both of my teams from the first half as well as the second half is the character's normal attack and the charge deck damage increasing by 20%. It's not much, It's definitely not as much as the buff that Newlet would get if the max XP increases by 25%, but hey, it's uniform. It helps the both teams. So I'm going to take that. We'll start with Fuina's skill, then swirl this. Use Newlet's burst and see if there are any people around. And apparently not so many people were left around. First this, then new people. 60 grand, not bad. For a 4-star character, Xingqiu sure is broken. Finally down to the 3rd chamber. Healing effectiveness is something Fuina can make use of with the incoming healing that she provides people with whenever her burst is activated. But here again, it's very beneficial for just one team and not the two of them. So I'm going to take energy recharge here instead. Back when Kazuha released, people were crapping on him. People are like, this is a bad unit. And the ult almost felt like it's gonna slice people into half. But all it did was, throw away some leaves. That's the only thing it was getting up to. But right now, if anyone wants a unit that deals animo damage, it's Kazuha. That's your bet. No one else but him. Alright. Got myself the buff. And these things are a pain in the butt because these things, they take away your energy and prevent you from doing burst reactions, burst damages. And if you don't have energy left, they'll start sucking your life out. They'll try to take away your life, your health, and it's totally suboptimal. Right, so that is chamber 2nd done. Let's move on to the next chamber. Okay, have I taken the skill damage yet? Probably not, so I'll take it now. Does it? I'm not so sure about that. The way I see at things, it's you people who are frozen and not me. It was barely 3 seconds now, was it, right? Everyone was defeated. Done. Technically this could have been a lot more than that if I would have used someone like Yoimiya Bennett first before I used Zongli's nuke. Right, let's move on to the 11th chamber. Over here, things are changing drastically. They would still prefer for you to use hydro units, but they would appreciate you even more if you were to use electro units. And I just so happen to have both Chlorand as well as Raiden here. So we'll see which one of these really require them and which one of them can actually do without. So the second half looks like it could use an electro based team, like an electro on field unit to defeat these people, while technically the veteran tainted water spouting phantasm as well as veteran tainted water splitting phantasms, I don't know how difficult it would be to defeat them with electro based on field DPSs, but they would definitely benefit from having someone who is from Pyro. Let's just take for instance Yoimiya or Hu Tao or Alicino. And then finally Jade Plume Tertium. Again, the electro usage over here is necessary because it puts it in a state where it stops moving, it goes on a rampage first and it sleeps, then all the elemental resistance for this enemy, it decreases, and that's the best time for you to attack it. But for now, what I'm gonna do is on the second half, I'll take Nahida, Florent, Xingqiu, and Zonglei. But for the first half, I'll probably stick with the good old Nuvella team. So Furina, Nuvella, Kaizehara Kazuha, and what's her name? Diona? Diona. Let's see how well this team fares. Of course, this one, that's a no-brainer. Wow, did I bring them close to a ley line? The monolith? And that is what ended up causing it more damage than they could have possibly done. Sometimes my stupidity surprises me to my core. We definitely left the second half with a lot of leeway. It's a different story if they would be able to use it or not. Alright. Not a lot of breathing room left now, is there? Jeez, and then getting frozen like that. I'm gonna assume that they fell on the ground first and then I started shooting on them. And of course, using Xingqiu on people like these is, it's an invitation of getting yourself frozen. That's what it is. Right, so for the first one, we took Cactus normal and charge attack damage increasing by 20%. For this one, we'll take Cactus elemental skill damage increasing by 20% and see where that takes us. So far, so good. Oh, so we have 4 of these. How easy it would be if it were just 2. Right, that was the first half. Let's take a look at the second one. Here, Xingqiu won't be as helpful, so we can forget about Hyper Bloom. Chlorine is amazing. She might not be in the level of Raiden probably for a bunch of people around me, but for me, the playstyle it's unputdownable. I cannot put it down. So when I pulled Chlorine, I went around the world killing a lot of world bosses, and it's like getting yourself a new shiny hammer. When you get yourself a new shiny hammer, everything looks like a nail. Right, we're down to the 3rd chamber, and over here, of course, Elemental Mastery would be of great help. Dendro-based reactions, but the other ones are also equally bad. So I know what I'm gonna do with the additional defense. I definitely don't have problems surviving here. That I would be like, oh fair, I would probably need the defense over here. You indeed did. Here's the last chamber, so even when they were not put together, I still decided to use Kazuha's ult, because where else would I use it? Alright. Big guy. Big chicken. Big Dendro chicken. or the Jade Plume Terrace Room. Big damages, but I'll provide you with bigger damages if you don't mind. The thing was not even down, and Chlorine was able to cut through a major part of her health. That just goes on to prove just how broken she is. And the coup de grace was provided by Zhongli with his normal attacks. Right, moment of truth. Or the way Genshin calls it, moment of Sizigi. 12 flow. Everything, every ley line disorder has now reduced to being normal, which means that there's no buff for using a certain set of characters. So 12th floor is the one where the real gaming or the real spending shows. If you have good characters, you're going to win. If you have okay characters but you can game properly, if you have skills, then you will win. But this is the one where, you know, F2P people mostly succumb, they stop existing. So first off, looks like the place where I would really want to use my electro based units. And I think the algorithm of semi-intransient matrix of overseer network. Wow, I'm tired. It's a long name. Asimon. A-S-I-M-O-N. Don't use the off ones. Asimon. Let's just call it that. And then finally Nuvolet and Fuina's team. Should be good enough. Should be. But let's see. So Nahida, Chlorand, Shengchu, Zhongli, and over here Furina, Nuvolet, Kaidehara Kazuha, and Iona. Let's find out if we are able to get 33 stars over here or not. I'll take Elemental Mastery because why not? 3 people. Nida's burst is also amazing. For as little of 60 energy cost, it's able to do a lot of stuff. Right, now that it's dealt with. Hey Ruin Guard, you plan on shooting me with bombs? Guess what? I'll shoot you as well. One, two, three. I wish I could have applied them with Dendro first before dealing them with Electro as well as Hydro damage for some sweet Hyper Bloom. But hey, it's not late. A lot of quicken, a lot of aggravate, a lot of numbers, which just makes my monkey brain happy. Was my coming foretold? I suppose your deaths were also foretold, because that's what I'm here to do. Deaths, defeats, you name it. Good. How funny it would be if a certain character were to die and the last thing that they say is good. It would be amazingly stupid of me if I were to swallow Pyro here instead of Hydro, which is actually beneficial for me. Okay, they got applied with Hydro. So now I can use Kazuha. Does Cryo help taking down their shields, or I think it's just the Hydro that does it? Oh. Uh, these are the moments where I wish that I had greater constellations of Nuvalet, because the interruption resistance is really something that I can make use of. No, 5 seconds might not be enough. I'll probably give it a retry later, but for now I'll just simply move on to the other floors, other chambers, and see how my entire team works over there. 2 stars over here. Okay, some crit multipliers. Don't mind me if I do. I hate Magokenki. Can I just say that? I hate it with passion. It just, decides when it wants to take damage and when it does not wanna. You're gonna notice now. Yeah, see? So you will see those numbers. That's not the point. You'll see them. But the points won't be reflected on the big bar that he has for the health bar. One thing that Chlorine is able to do nicely is get close to this enemy. Cover the gap between the two of them. Okay. Wasn't as difficult, but we'll see. Okay, these two people. Here again. If you don't defeat them at once, your entire time is up for the toss. Okay, the two of them died together, which is amazing. Let's try getting ourselves some fanfare points while we're on it. Using healers like Jean is the most beneficial over here. Okay, where are they getting the cryo from? Is it Diona? Because then that would be amazing. I wonder what got swirled. Was it cryo or was it hydro? Alright, these things are taken care of. And then finally we have these things, these mechs from Fontaine. That was probably not enough, but we have still 24 seconds before the window for 3 stars closes, which is to say that we'd comfortably be able to get through, no problems at all. Right, so over here, what will be beneficial? Less than 50% of HP and greater than 60. Nah, I'll probably take this one. Sure, I could have made use of the HP, returning back to players, but I'll see if I really need it. Where is she going? Alright. So far so good. Mind you, this is in the absence of Nida's ult, which I will provide now. Let's use the ult here. Big numbers, might I add. That too without Xingqiu, by the way, it was all aggravate. Let's see if I left myself with enough time for the second half team to comfortably get myself 3 stars. So far, so good. I hated that they got split apart. The iframe would help me because the way this guy squishes people, it jumps down. It jumps down on them. Again, one more jumping down. That is not cool, Mr. Scorpion. Okay. We should be able to get 3 stars over here comfortably, and we did. And that brings us to the very bottom of the abyss, 12,3. But no 36 stars this time around, at least in one sitting. I'd have to optimize the first chamber, or at least the first chamber's team. So second half, I think New Violet as well as the Furina team is fine. For the first half, I'd much rather take someone else like Bennett, Navia. Where's Shangling? Shangling and Songlei. And over here, Furina, New Violet, Kazuha and Diona. Well, technically, if I can prevent these people, the primal constructs, from disappearing, I should be left with enough time to take them all out. Unless, of course, it's the second half that's messing things up. Then we'll start having problems. Big, big problems. I guess I'll use this one. So while the geoparticles come down, okay, that's one more. So far so good. I'm able to make up time. Imagine that Ringa throwing one thing at me, one big bomb, and I'm like, hey, here's multiple. Using Navia's ult, by the way. $227, that's sweet. $146. 107, definitely not as good. $108. Now focusing on their pets. Wow. Why am I levitating? Mm-hmm. Okay, taking down the pet did it. And I hope I'm left with enough time for the second half. So it was again Pyro that I swirled. That's embarrassing. Now here's a secret that I want the viewers to keep for me. I swirl Pyro when I'm not supposed to. That doesn't make me a bad player. To be honest, it does. It's not just about reflexes, but it also is about making the right decisions at the right time. So, yeah, I'll give you that pass of calling me a bad player. But yeah, this was definitely not a good run. Because over here, it's barely done. And I've reached the ceiling, of the 7 stars. Of the 7 minute. I don't know if changing this theme would help me. The current team, the one for New Wallet as well as Forena. Because it almost looks like they're able to do things properly. But hey, you never know. It's after all their Pyro shield that you need to desecrate. I'll finish this off for the sake of finishing it, but I'll probably try later with a different team comp perhaps and see if I'm able to do things more properly. Enough to want me 3 stars even in the first chamber. Leave for now. Right, so that was about it. 35 stars for this round of Spiral Abyss. I'll abandon it for now, but let's see the amount of stars that they're providing us with. 100. So is it like, wow, it's getting 3 stars that provides you with 100 more. Now that's not a very justified way of dividing things, but it's definitely more than the stars that we got the last time. And I appreciate it. I really do. So I've gotten these stars. I'll probably attempt again to get to 36 stars in the 12th floor. But as always, I thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if you found this video useful or entertaining, or both. Share it with your friends. And as always, I'm going to see you on the next one.